Hey guys! Oh, yay! It's good to be back. I know it has been a crazy couple of weeks for me, but it's been so good. My best friend got married a couple of weekends ago, and I got to be the maid of honor, and it was so special because I got to hang out with specifically her in-laws for the weekend in this great cabin up in the mountains, and I just had all these really cool, fun little moments with their family, kind of like I was a part of the family, and I loved it and ate it up and stuff like that. Like, it was super fun. Like, it even came down to me, like, helping a little 5.5-year-old girl at midnight who came out of her room because she had lost her tooth, and I got to take care of her, clean her up, put the little tooth in a box for her to keep it safe for the for the tooth fairy, because she was going to make bank off of that tooth, and she was super excited, and stuff like that. So anyway, it was a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And then my business has been booming, which is great. I've got like 4 or 5 proposals for new clients. It's just coming in, which is awesome. So there's that and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, hands down, this is definitely the best way I've ever entered the holidays, which I'm so stoked about because, as you know, I won't be spending them with my family and stuff like that. And I got another video to talk about on that too. But anyway, let me get to this because I have been, I've been super busy and stuff like that. So I'll get to the Love Fest and continue that series here in a bit. But I really wanted to do this one because I got a message from one of my wonderful subscribers, and she has recently gone no contact with her mother, and she is a college student. So, wow. I mean, seriously, to go no contact with your mom at that age is amazing, and stuff. And anyway, and one of the things that she brought up was, that she comes from a Christian background, and said, I know that you've mentioned that you're spiritual. And so she's like, so, like, the whole Bible, and how do you deal with that? Like, because isn't there some kind of like, obligation that we have to our family, to stay in touch with them if we're religious and our religion has taught us that and stuff like that. So anyway, and you've contacted the right person on that. That's for sure. So I'll tell you a little bit about my spiritual background. So I grew up Christian as well. Actually, I really threw myself into religion at a very young age, and especially because of my parents and stuff, because I did not get that love and support from them. I definitely turned to God for that, and I'm so grateful for that time in my life. I remember distinctly being 15 years old and coming away from one of those many horrible arguments with my parents where my heart was just broken from their inability to love me and inability to really, like, support me emotionally and be there for me emotionally. And I remember getting on my knees, in my bedroom going, God, you are my parents. Because, like, I just can't, how are these people parenting me? They can't parent me. They can't be there for me, and how heartbreaking that was. But yet at the same time, like, there was all this pressure, to forgive and of course my parents would definitely use that one Bible verse, honor thy mother and father, kind of stuff, and so anyway, and seriously, because I really felt like God got me through that season of my life, like God was the one who turned me around from committing suicide to all sorts of stuff. During that time, I actually dedicated the first 15 years of my career to ministry work. Actually, I went to seminary and got my master's and did all this stuff, And I was very programmed, because I hadn't really dealt with, me being a borderline kid and all that kind of stuff, or a child of a borderline. And so when it came then to making the decision to go no contact, it was hard, partly because of my religious influences. And so what I needed to do, and I think honestly that was part of why I think I might have even gone to seminary, was because I was searching in the Bible of like, is there something here I'm missing about like this whole family thing, because I know the whole honor thy mother and father, I know the whole suffering, I know the whole forgiveness, and all those concepts like that are supposed to be great attributes in your life. Why do I feel like horrible, for the fact that I want to let go of my mom, that I want to separate myself from her and stuff like that. And so anyway, so there's a few things that I want to address when it comes to, I think, the Bible or any religion where you're being taught that like you have to stick it out with your parents because our religion says so. And so anyway, so first off, I think that the Bible, I think religion, it can so often be so much about perspective and so much about different interpretations. Boy, that is one thing I definitely learned when I was in seminary about the Bible. There's definitely ways you can interpret it in different ways, and so the Bible has actually been used to justify for centuries, obviously abusive stuff, such as slavery, civil rights, suffrage, and stuff for women and such. So, so bottom line is that we know deep down, like there's something, when people turn around and use the Bible, like my mom did, or dad did, to say, honor thy mother and father, shut up and just listen to us and just be what we want you to be, and, and stuff, because you're clearly not enough as you are. When people use that stuff to justify, we deep down know that it's wrong. And stuff. So, I think it's really important to also acknowledge too that, you're talking about the Bible, which was written by, writers in ancient Near Eastern times, so emotional abuse was not something that was discussed in ancient Near Eastern times, at all. I think it's just like in America, like it's taken generations for us to even acknowledge such a thing as emotional abuse, like that's really kind of like the whole self-help movement from the 1990s and stuff. Like this is all kind of like a new concept for people and generations, and that's why on some level I give my parents some slack, because they're from the boomers, like whole emotional abuse, self-help stuff. I mean, this is just new for them, to an extent. So of course, so emotional abuse was never addressed in ancient Near Eastern times. But I think the one thing you can say out of the Christian religion, out of any religion, I think, is that our greatest responsibility that God has given us is ourselves. That we can't be love or light in the world if we aren't taking care of ourselves and we aren't taking care of our needs. We are the only thing that God has given us to control and God has given us to handle and to do. Like we have a responsibility to love and to give and to serve to others, absolutely. But I think that we can't do a great job of that if we aren't taking care of ourselves. And I think that the Bible does discuss that. I think the Bible is clear on that and such. I mean, and even look at how Jesus lived and worked and stuff like that, So, yeah. So anyway, so here's where I think things get twisted a lot of times in religion, especially like in Christianity, is the whole suffering thing. Like we go, oh, if I'm suffering, if I keep suffering through this relationship with my mom, surely God will bless me through it, and I think that's absolutely incorrect. I think that, I think when we suffer in a way, like we work through our things, we struggle, we stick alongside of people in order to, in a way where we are shining our light, that's great, but I think that when we are suffering in a way that actually hurts our light, that hurts our ability to love, that's not what God intended. And I don't think that's what God wants us in, is those kinds of relationships. So, the other thing is forgiveness and that whole concept. Oh boy. I mean, seriously, this is definitely the one that my parents throw in my face about the fact that I've gone no contact. I have not forgiven my mom. And that's not true. I have totally forgiven my mom. But forgiveness to me is, and I think you can interpret this in the Bible as well, is acceptance for what has happened. Acceptance. I accept who my mom is. I accept that how my dad is. I accept the fact that this is how they operate and this is how they are. And I accept that they do not see how they are hurting me. And I accept that my mom has a condition that is causing her to be that way. And I accept that it is never likely ever going to get fixed. I accept that there's no real hope that I have for that relationship to ever get better, and so therefore I accept that the only thing I can do is take care of me in the best way I can in the situation, that to me is what forgiveness is to accept what has happened and to then let it go. And then to drop it, and to let myself heal. It is not I don't think forgiveness is making my mom feel better or making my dad feel better about the situation. Forgiveness is accepting what's happened so that I can feel better and I can move my life forward and I can be available to the people that need me and the people that are actually going to benefit from me being in their life. Right now, I'll be honest, I don't think my mom and dad benefit from having me in their life. Not when, they see me as this person that causes them so much pain and suffering, because I'm not what they want and, and all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's helpful. I don't think me going back to see my family and putting my siblings through unnecessary tension because mom and dad are not happy with me is helpful. I think that the best thing I can do is to accept what's happened and be free from it and move forward with my life. I think that's what God intended when God talked about forgiveness, and stuff like that, is to be able to move forward without that bitterness and out that anger so that I can live and I can share my light and love and be what God wants me to be in the world, and stuff like that. So anyway, it was a risk. I won't lie. Of course, when I went no contact, it was a risk for me to do that because I wondered if I was going against God's wishes in my life or going against the Bible, or biblical concepts, by doing what I was doing, that I was not honoring my mother and father according to my mother and father, but I have to say, without a doubt, I have a way healthier relationship with God since I've gone no contact. I cannot tell you, how much richer, how much more loved I feel by God because I don't have the people in my life who I was feeling so unloved by. I needed them out of my life because I feel like I think I perceived God a lot based off of my relationship with my parents. So the idea of my parents being out of my life meant that I actually am having a much clearer relationship, I guess you would say, with God. And so I can tell you, the amount of healing, the amount of love, the amount of support, the amount of value that I have for myself now, I truly believe is God-given. And I truly believe now it's like getting the weeds out of my life, and, you know, and in my relationship even with God, and going like, okay, God, like, I've got the toxic people out of my life. Like, show me if, how this works between you and me, now that they're out of my life. And I can tell you, oh my gosh, it has gotten so much better. I have so much more. I have real faith now, like real belief now, and real confidence now that things are going to work out better and life is going to get better and things like that. And I know a huge part of it is because I limited or completely got rid of those kinds of negative influences on my life that was screwing up my interpretation or my spiritual connection with God, and stuff like that. So yeah, I cannot even tell you, so I have no doubt whatsoever that what I'm doing is the right thing, and that what I'm doing is the most honorable thing, because I have so much more love to give. There's so much more to do. I couldn't be doing this channel. I'll be honest. I could not be doing this channel if it wasn't for, if my parents were still in my life, so. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I could keep going on about this, but yeah, let me know. Share your thoughts and your own experiences. And please keep sending me your questions so I can be more than happy to keep answering them for you and stuff like that, and keep the conversation going among all of us. So yeah, have a great day.